Now, we would begin this week's discussions on chapter 13. The topic, closing begins the relationship. Closing begins the relationship. Now, we would be talking first about the golden rule. So, closing should be guided by what? By the golden rule. Number one, you as the salesperson, you should look for signals for buying. Be confident in your suggested order. Prepare several clauses for each call. Do not take no personally. Don't do that. To remember that a successful close begins your relationship. And you now have to prove your value with ethical service and your new relationship with the prospect who indeed would be buying. Number two, when should I pop the question? Closing, the definition. What is it? Closing is indeed the process, the steps of helping people to make decisions that will benefit them. You see? Therefore, there are no magic phrases and techniques to use in closing a sale. You should close the sale when the prospect is in the conviction stage of the mental or of the buying process. You see? So what is it? You as the salesperson, you have to read the signals. Do you see? What is it that you are reading? A buying signal. The buying signal, that is anything that a prospect says or does to indicate that he is ready to buy. Now, several ways the prospects signal that they are ready to buy include asking questions. Do you see? Ask another person's opinion in the prospect of presentation. The prospect who is willing to buy might ask a colleague or a peer their opinion about the product or the service. Relaxing and becoming friendly. Watch these signals. Pulling out a purchase order form. Watch out for this and carefully examines the merchandise. If you really realize that the prospect is doing what? Examine the merchandise, then there is a case that hello, how are you?
Where's everybody at?
Nobody is here. Is Chris back here?
Yeah, I see his car right there.
Oh, okay. Now, a good closer will do what? Ask for the order and then remains quiet. He will not say anything and gets the order and moves on. You see? So, here, the moving selling process begins with a positive response to the trial close indicates a move towards the close. Negative response means return to your presentation. There's something wrong. And therefore, if you see the signs that tend to be negative, then you have to go back to review your presentation. You see, and then find out the reasons why the prospect is likely not going to buy. Look for the objections and correct them. So how many times should you close? One. You should be able to close. That is selling the product. You see, you must be able to use multiple strategies, methods to sell the product. It's important. 2, 3 closes, 3 methods of closing is the minimum. That is the smallest number that you can use, and 2, you will learn how without being pushy. Don't push. If you are pushing, you see, eager, rushing to make the business go, then you are presenting yourself as what? A traditional salesperson. This is chapter 13.
13?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, Chris.
Yes, sir.
So sorry for your loss.
Thank you. It's okay. Hey, what's up, brother? What's up, man? I lost your seat. He doesn't want coming. No, we was on the way, bro. That snow threw us for a loop. Oh, but it was snowing in his car. It's like when they plowed it in, I guess. It's like if you keep going down that road, then it gums. Shit bad. It took like 10 minutes. I was rocking my car back and forth because I didn't have no shovel. The plow pushed all the snow on. Yesterday? We didn't leave the house because that's when the snow started. So like we big snow. Yeah, Sunday it was like goddamn, like it's like really bright. Hell snow, like we ain't gonna walk. You gotta walk. People walking. It's like they don't even understand. You feel me? People walking out on the street. You know, like it's crazy. It's really. I was like, man, what is that bad walk though? It's cold. It's cold. Very long. The summer's out.
Now, as I was saying, 3 to 5 closing. That is the minimum. And you as a salesperson, you should learn not to be what? To be pushy. If you do that, then you see, you are breaking a rule that you should know. Then you are becoming what? A traditional salesperson. Traditional salesperson want to push to make the sale so that you will get a commission. Salespersons should not do that. Number here, look at this. Closing. The first no from the prospect isn't necessarily an absolute refusal. If you are doing the presentation, you are at the end of buying, that is the closing. If the prospect says no, it doesn't mean that you have lost the business. No. It doesn't mean failure. You have to be persistent. Do you see? The first no from the prospect does not show that you have failed. And all of us here in this room, we have been exposed to this, that these businesses, they keep persistently, constantly talking to us. If you are in the principles of marketing or management class, we have something we call shipping. Do you see? Today, you see that these businesses are using several method strategies in shipping. Rewards. Oh, take this 3 months, no risk attached. Do you see? This is a form or a method of shipping. Do you see? So if the first at the presentation, if the prospect or prospects say no, it doesn't mean that you are failing. There are difficulties that come with closing. Do you see? Closing is the easiest part. What's your problem? No, my friend. If you feel this is a dancing floor, no, you may want to walk out and dance or sing.
I'll leave it, but
Now, salespersons may fail. They fail to make the business. Why would they fail to make sales or to make the business? Do you see? They don't have the ability to make the sales. They are not confident. Standing in front of the prospect, he may be shaken, and even to ask questions tends to be a problem. If that is the case, if the edge is not there, if the energy is not there, then you cannot make the sales. 3. They determine that the prospect does not need the quantity or type of merchandise or the type of offering. Maybe if there's a determination that, the offering does not meet the needs of the prospect, and you don't have the confidence to close, then you are likely going to fail to make the deal. You can't make the deal. Be confident. You have to be confident. And 2, they may not have had any serious plan. Do you see? They might not have actually surveyed the background of the customer to make a determination of what is important or what the prospect will need. If this thing happens, then the salesperson fails to make the business, fails to sell the product to the prospect, to whom the presentation has been done. So these factors come to determine the reason or reasons why we cannot make the sales, even though we may have done a very good presentation. Do you see? Now, what are the essentials? Do you see? We have some methods or techniques, strategies to close the deal, to make the business. Right? What is this? What is this? The alternative choice is an old favorite. What does this mean? I want somebody to explain this to the class. The alternative choice clause is an alternative favorite. What is this saying? I don't understand it.
Is that picture a hint?
Pardon me?
Is that picture right there a hint?
I don't get your statement. I said, look, you said that prepare several closing techniques. Here it said the alternative choice clause is an alternative favorite. What does that mean? I want all of us to talk about that.
Alternative choice clause.
I don't know what the alternative choice is, so.
I think it's kind of like like they try to get you to choose which one you want to try to close you out to make sure you get something at least.
Oh, okay.
Like you go get a pair of shoes, you see some Timbs and some Flays or something. Like you might can't afford the Timbs, but they try to get you to get the Flays. You know what I'm saying?
That makes sense. Thank you, brother.
You understand what I'm saying?
No, I didn't hear you. You were talking to a peer only.
And now look, so the alternative choice clothes is like, say if you go get you like to buy shirts, right? But you see it's two shirts that you like, but you might can't afford to get the one you like the most. So they try to get you to buy the one that you know what I'm saying, it's kind of in your price range. That's the kind of the alternative choice because they're trying to make sure you get something. Right?
That's right.
Thanks. You are back from Richmond.
I ain't even see Richmond.
We have the second strategy. This is the assumptive clause. Crow, have you read about this, the assumptive clause?
Not the assumptive clause. I read about the alternative, but not the assumptive.
Yeah, yes.
I'm assuming that means like, once you finish, and you want somebody to buy something or make an order on something, you finish your presentation or whatever, and then you be like, so if you want to go ahead and just sign right here to finalize it, or something like that. Like you assuming like.
Who else?
Okay.
Who else has a contribution to make? Kroll, again?
I'm looking it up right now.
Okay, look at it and tell us. And so support your friend.
Yeah, basically what he was saying, you assume that they're already gonna buy it, so it's like once I finish my sales presentation, it's like me saying, here, just go ahead and give me your credit card and I'll get the paperwork ready.
Okay. Complement clause. All these are methods of closing that we as the salespersons can use. The complement clause inflates the ego. What do we mean? We understand complement and we do understand ego. Why is it that this is a strategy that the salesperson can use? Lamal, what are you doing? Are you reading your text messages or you are following this?
I'm doing this now.
What?
Or what was you doing?
You said Lamar?
Yeah, Lamar.
You said my name Lamar?
You over there reading text.
What's your name again?
Greg?
Gray.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
G Money.
Don't put me in the doghouse.
His gang name G
Are
Money.
you following what we are doing?
I got it now.
Mm-hmm. So why is it that this should be a strategy? Compliment close inflates the ego. How can you explain this? You are the salesperson, and you are using this method. The first two have been explained. We are on the third strategy that the salesperson can use. How can we, if this is a method that the salesperson can use, how do we explain this?
How you explain the whole three concepts?
About compliment close, my God.
No compliment.
What the last one?
Oh, all right. Then basically you just end the what you're selling basically with something like a good. I don't know how to say it.
Do you have something to share? No, I mean
Yes.
you. Yes.
Maybe,
Like a good detail about it. Basically.
I was thinking, I think compliment close inflates the ego. Someone gives you a compliment on you closing something, which will boost your ego in the way you do things.
Plato.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, conversation. We are all conversing.
I think is right what he said. For example, you sold something to somebody, and you make a nice soul, and you tell like your client nice compliments. You know, like he pays like amount of money to you, and you like and you give something. You know, like a
Look at this concept here.
Yeah.
Compliment.
yeah.
Is that what we are explaining now?
Yeah.
Is that what I'm trying to explain?
Okay, go on.
I mean, that's what how you finish your deal. Like after your sale, you can give something to your client to make another like sale or something, and like something from your company. So client is gonna come back, and like for example, you bought something is like a service card. You know, for example, for like 12 months, you can come back and they're gonna fix your, for example, laptop, like a guarantee, you know, like or something. I don't know.
Crow, do you agree with what your friend talked about?
I got kind of lost.
You are lost.
Well, I understand the compliment close. It's like whenever I'm trying to close, maybe, you know, I'm trying to flatter or give a bunch of compliments to the
prospect.
customer to make them feel obligated to buy to me once, you know, you start giving them compliments and they feel
Yeah,
really good.
to make them feel important.
Yeah.
So like if you got that shirt on, like, oh, you look good in that shirt, boy.
Yeah.
It boosts your ego up in your head, young man.
That inflates you.
That inflates your ego.
That inflates you. You feel me? It pumps you up like an air balloon. Something like that.
This is a fourth strategy that the salesperson can use to make the deal. It's a strategy. You see that here, the salesperson is given the presentation. Now it has come to a point that the salesperson has to get the business. That is the sale from the customer. The presentation or the sale of the product is going to serve the needs of the customer, to improve the customer's life. What the salesperson can do would be to give a summary of what the product or the service can do for the prospect. So we can have what? The alternative choice, as explained by one of you, the assumptive clause, the complement clause, boosting the image, the ego of the prospect, and then giving a summary of the product or the merchandise to let the customer or the prospect know what the product is going to do to benefit the prospect or the prospects. Any of these strategies can indeed be used by the customer. Now you have to prepare for the closing. You have to prepare for the closing. In the United States, it's a culture here to maintain eye contact with the prospect. Right? If you shy away, you look elsewhere, the customer might think of something, that you have something to hide. That after all that you are saying will not help him, if indeed he purchases the product. You see, here, you have to be a little careful. Why? If you are dealing with what? With different people of different cultures, you have to be a little careful. Now, I was born and raised in a different culture altogether. This non-spoken, do you see, maintaining eye contact tends to be a little offensive to the country in which I was born. We don't maintain eye contact if you are talking to somebody. So and that is why it is important to get to know the prospect, get the profile of the customer. You have to be very, very tactical here. And if you know the background of the customer, if the culture of the customer says eye contact, that is a strategy that you have to use. But if you have several prospects, and those prospects come from different cultures, then you have to be very careful here. Now, if the individual prospects are all from the United States, where eye contact is so important, then you have to do that. Because if you shy away, the American prospect is going to see something or sense something different that, after all, what you are saying might not be true. Chris, might not be true. So eye contact, you see, that is a positive body language that you, as a salesperson, have to use. You see, in the culture, the reason I'm bringing this up is that in the culture that raised me, if you look at somebody closely, the person is going to question, why is it that you are looking at me? Is there anything wrong with me?
You said if you want to do what now?
Your question again, please.
I said, what did you say? I didn't understand the first part.
What I said, the culture in which I was born and raised, if you look at somebody close in their eyes, the person is going to ask questions. Why is it that this person is looking at me? Is there any death on me? What is it that he's looking at, he or she is looking at me? You see. Now, you don't have anything here in the Ghanaian concept, you are not losing anything if you look elsewhere. So in the case of the Ghanaian person, you have to occasionally take your eyes away. But in the United States, no, you cannot do that. The eye contact. Now, if the eye contact is there, then the individual prospect is going to look at it that, oh, he's telling me something. That is the truth. You see, the response that will be generated is not going to be negative, it's going to be positive. If the customer needs the product. Here, you see the minor points it's talking about. It's not. There may be some minor things that the prospect might have detected, but it will not spoil your business. It will not have any negative impact on your presentation, and thus closing the deal. If you go on, we have the T account or balance sheet close. Look at these techniques. T account or balance, those of you who are in your accounting classes, principles of accounting. What explanation do you have here?
T count?
Yes, this one.
I mean, that's just like for me when I do T counts, it's like a positive side and basically a negative side.
Excuse me, what time do we close this class?
40.
140.
140, yeah.
1:40, okay. Now go on. Sorry.
Like when I use a T count, I use like, sometimes we put numbers on one side and that's like what you begin with. Mm-hmm. And the other side we'll put like what you end with after you've done everything. That's what we use T counts for.
Okay. So which one do you think that is going to influence the prospect to pay attention and to buy? You are balancing the sheet. Okay. So which one do you think that balancing the sheet will be a very good strategy for sales to be made? But my friend, listen, if we are not interested in the class, please walk away rather than sitting back there and be laughing at me.
I'm interested.
Please, if you feel you are not interested, leave the class. You can watch, it's being recorded, you can watch the video. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Please. Is that a good strategy to close the deal? Let's think about it. I'm talking to all of you.
You said which one we use for that situation?
Mm-hmm.
The T account or the balance sheet? I think the T count would be better for closing the deal.
Why?
Because on one side you can show the prospect on what's best for them, and on the other side you can show the negatives of it.
Okay. So if I'm a prospect, I will balance the two. Do you see? And maybe I'll be persuaded.
Yeah, because if your positives outweigh your negatives, you won't be persuaded.
You don't have to all the time portray that. You don't all the time have to portray that, oh, the product is good, the service is good, the service is good. Somebody is going to, if I'm in the audience, I'm going to ask, why is it that he's not saying anything negative about the product? But here, we have the two sides. Do you see? And as the gentleman is saying, it gives enough information for me as the prospect to make the buying decision. So you have to do what as a salesperson? you have to prepare several methods that you can use to make the business. And you see that we have gone through all this afternoon. 1, the alternative choice clause. 2, the assumptive clause. The complement clause, which giving compliments about the prospect to boost the ego. This is, make that this look so important. You see. Now we have reviewing the benefits of the product or the service. You see. 2, eye contact. Make eye contact. You are in the United States. You have to make the eye contact, because if you don't do that, the prospect is going to say that, hey, he is not telling us the truth. Do you see? Eye contact, the non-spoken language. Here in the United States, it's so important. If you are doing a presentation, if you are making a presentation to a prospect or prospects, don't worry too much about the minor attributes of the product that the prospect might detect. And the last one, as explained by our friend, use the T account. You see, explain. Listen.
Oh, man.
You balance the sheet. And you see that this could be a good strategy to close the deal. So we will stop on this and then continue on Wednesday. And those of you who were not here, I have given those who were here, I've given them the chapters for test number 3, and I've given the chapters for the final test. Now, Kroll, do you remember chapters for test number 3?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
Okay. Now, I remember the chapters for the final test. These include 12, 13, 14, 15, and 17. So please read. The language is easy. It is not all that difficult to understand. So read. But if there is anything that is a bother, bring it to the classroom for all of us to talk about it. 2, those of you who have not been here, I know Gary, Chris and his friend, and you and the lady, you have not been in the class. So you don't know exactly what is going on. Those who have been here are working on the project. Please don't wait. You are here. You have to work on the project. You know the parts. You can assign the sections to each of you, and then when you finish, you put it together. And don't wait. We don't have enough time again. March ends on Friday. We have only 4 more weeks. Please.
Yeah, 4 weeks of school. After Friday.
We will only have class discussions only in April. When April ends, we are taking the last lesson. So please do your part. If you don't do it, if you don't present anything, I don't have any basis to give you what? The grade. You have to do something. So, if you have questions.